Hey everyone, it's Tim and Falcon, and I'm back with another episode of Road to 1.2K. And today's episode is going to be this tier-free fog match on Seashoals versus Zelensky Gur. Yeah. Anyways, so this map, you would think that this map would be sort of a, well, I mean it's base light. So if you go to map analysis, Sonya's at 45, Rachel's at 57. Okay, fair enough. Um, honestly, looking at it again, I feel like Rachel is probably... Yeah, Rachel is the pick here. Where's Kindle? Kindle's at 56. Kindle's also not bad. And the reason why Rachel and Kindle are so good on this map is because both of their superpowers, and I guess Drake to a lesser extent, Annie to a lesser extent. The reason those two are so good on this map is because their Rachel's super and Kindle's regular power do a lot of damage to your units, well, to your production basically. So, well, to your unit count. They're very good against people. Very good when you have low unit count because they affect a larger proportion of your units, and that becomes a lot more important, especially like Rachel's superpower, because it's always going to be targeting 3 groups of units, and like the way that you normally can take care of Rachel's superpower pretty easily is the way you do that is. You just take... Well, I mean, to be fair, Rachel is kind of more difficult to deal with the covering fire because covering fire is annoying. But it accumulates foot soldier HP, total value, and then total unit health. And she has one which does each of those. So, on a base light map like this, where you're not going to have a lot of foot soldiers... that right there means that her first missile is going to be way more valuable because it's going to be attacking a larger group of your important foot soldiers. And then everything else sort of goes in line. But it's mainly that foot soldier HP thing because you aren't able to... Excuse me. But on base light, you aren't able to sort of divert her missiles as easily, basically. And they hit a lot more of your units. They end up hitting a lot more of your units. So, on a small map like this, Rachel actually does come in clutch. Sonya... Okay, I just can't stop using Sonya, though. Unless it's like a really, really bad map for her, which I guess this is... like most maps. But, like, in theoretically, if Rachel weren't here, I'd be able to do pretty well on this map, because the thing that Sonya likes most is having just one unit type, right? So just tanks, just infantry. Early game, being able to just do that, and then work that way. Only being able to afford, like, one unit type, and then once you get a good number of those on the field, you just tech up, and then you can take over the field with that higher tech unit, basically. So she's very good early game with her infantry. She's very good early game with her tanks. Once your opponent starts building up unit count, it doesn't really... She kind of falls off. And especially if your opponent is able to build more like specialist units, like battlecopters, to deal with your tanks, or anti-air to deal with your battlecopters. Her superpower kind of just becomes useless. But she is able to see a good amount in fog, and since there aren't really any mountains on this map, it's like decent, right? And like I think like 1 or 2 recons is able to see the entire map with Sonya, with just the extra +1 vision. So as long as you keep your recons healthy, you should be fine with Sonya's recons. The only issue is she kind of needs to win before Rachel gets her superpower, because after she gets her superpower, she's gonna start snowballing. You're not gonna really be able to take it that well, And she's going to be able to start just building a lot of units to overwhelm you, because Sonya is such crap offensively because of her bad luck. But yeah, enough complaining about Sonya being bad. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get started with the replay. So, opening up with infantry here, just going pretty decently aggressively. Getting the airport early. He's actually going for the city early, which just go for the airport instead. But it doesn't really matter this early because I'm not gonna be able to afford Balcopters anyways. Oh, I remember when I did this map. That was really dumb. Okay, so yeah, recon's about plenty here. I've got recon. Early recon with Sonya is pretty good, especially like defensively. Like I think you'll be able to see it here in a second. I'm pretty sure my opponent goes for defensive recon. I'm pretty aggressive with theirs. But I go for the transport copter, which, it's not really that great. Because I was thinking of using it to sort of try to rush their comm tower early on. Not that Sonya can really use the comm tower that well, because even with 20% firepower, she still can't wall break into cities. But I was thinking it would maybe help a little bit. Well, consistently. She can't consistently wall break into cities. She can obviously, of course, always wall break, just not really consistently. So I've got my comm tower. I can see this recon here, which is gonna be annoying, especially considering I'm playing Sonya. Like, firepower. Her bad luck is just such annoying bullshit. But to be fair, I think most COs sort of have an issue with dealing with recons early on like this, because they can't really just most COs can't one-shot recons off of cities. Now, I should have definitely had a tank there to cover my infantry on the comm tower for sure. That's another mistake I made pretty early on. I got a battlecopter already, but honestly, and then I base skip for a recon here, so like if I didn't have this transport, like the transports actually come in and fine. I think the transport's fine. It's just because of this recon being here, it's not really able to do much. I think I'd rather have another tank, because I would have been able to afford 2 tanks that turn if I didn't spend money on that transport. Yeah, so he is able to get the lucky 2-shot into there with the infantry. That is a luck roll. It's not like super inconsistent, but I'd say it's like a 50-50 if you're doing 2 infantry into a city with just the 1 comm tower, with just 10% firepower, because it gets 42, 48, and then 49, 57, right? So if you get lowest luck plus highest luck, that's not a kill, right? So you need a little bit more of an average luck in order to kill very consistently. But anyways, so getting this first strike here with my tank. I've got the battlecopter here as well to sort of try to deal with everything. I've got 2 to sort of chain together, but like anti-air are going to be annoying, and then I'm just going to be tank spamming from here on out, I think. So we'll see how well that ends up working. Unfortunately, double tank. You've got too many tanks here, and the issue is I just don't have much in position right now to deal with it. Especially considering that battlecopters are really, really bad defensively. Like, I'm not able to wall break there, of course, because I'm playing Sonya. I'm not even able to take out this tank with my tank there. That was maybe a bit aggressive with the infantry. Should probably just stayed on the city there. And I get out for a medium tank because I'm seeing a bunch of light vehicles, but I think it's going to be a little bit too late for that. So basically neuters my battlecopter there. and my tank sort of. Takes out my infantry for 3. Yeah, because I don't have an anti-air in the area, I don't really have a good answer to this battlecopter either right now. Takes out the infantry, takes out the tank, and like even without superpower, I'm already not doing too hot. Just because my opponent has a bunch of stuff in this area, but I'm able to take out the recon at least there, I guess. Yeah, kind of unfortunate. I think it's mostly because I was overextended a little bit over here as well. And yeah, Sonya can take like 1 tank with her tanks, but because the other thing about this map that's not so great for Sonya is it's really open. So you can maneuver your tanks around back and forth pretty easily. So you can have pretty easy like tank blocks. So you're not able to do too much. Like what I should do, instead of having everyone like isolated on their own little cities like that, what I should have done was have I should have just held back a little bit until I charged up my super more easily, let my opponent come to me, and then deal with it that way. Like I might be able to take that there. She pops covering fire, so yeah, that's, I think that even hits her units. Let's double check. No, not as far as I can tell. Oh, wait. No. That doesn't hit our units. I forget if it does or not, but I don't think it does. Anyways, yeah, so it's my turn now. 1526, like completely demolished here, and I think it's mainly because I didn't tech up early enough. With Sonya, what I should have done here, yeah, I was on there. But instead of going for battlecopters, which are just like gonna get shot down, and they're not even gonna be able to do much damage to the tanks, what I should have done was just save up for a medium tank, start spamming those out, get some anti-airs out to deal with the battlecopters that my opponent's gonna send in eventually. Light tanks are solid as Sonya, but what she really sort of wants to do is like have less. Well, the only real way that you can make her work is if you'd use fewer units, but for stronger units, like medium tanks. I feel like medium tanks are a really good Sonya unit because for relatively cheap, they can deal with tanks, they can deal with anti-air, they can deal with infantry, they can more or less deal with battlecopters. Especially defensively, because let's see. This is going to be 10 health on planes versus a battlecopter, right? So the good thing about Sonya's medium tanks is they do a little bit more damage on the counter against battlecopters. So if you're on like a city, it starts to add up a little bit, right? Whereas with someone like Andy, you're never going to be able to do 2 damage. I think Neo tanks are maybe even a little bit better with that. So 2 tanks more or less effectively, and then with Sonya that becomes like 3 more or less. So that's not like bad. She is able to deal with battlecopters with stuff other than battlecopters, other than anti-air. So I think, and she really doesn't like her battlecopters are kind of useless because they can be shot down easily by other battlecopters or anti-air because they don't get any terrain benefits, and Sonya kind of needs the terrain benefits in order to be able to use her counterattacks, her counterattack damage. So yeah, medium tanks, I guess tanks, anti-air. I feel like the transport actually wasn't that useless overall, but I don't think it was worth it because the 5k I could have used for literally anything else that would have been better. Yeah, I think overall I just misplayed like crazy on this map, especially in just what I decided to build. You'd think I'd know by now how to play Sonya, but I still haven't. Apparently, I still haven't learned that medium tanks are good. And to be fair, this map is very low income. But yeah, I should have had tanks to cover everything, to cover all my infantry, because your opponent's obviously going to build recons to harass your Sonya infantry, because they're not going to be attacking them with your bear infantry, because Sonya infantry are good against their infantry, so you need tanks to cover them. You need, and especially if you're like capping stuff, it's really easy to be able to do that. So in direct contrast to what I did last episode, I didn't really cover my infantry all that well. I was kind of even maybe a little bit too aggressive with them. And I overextended my infantry a bit without any backup. And then the other thing I did was I pushed really aggressively here with my tanks for no reason. Because like, what is my objective here, right? I could maybe forestall my opponent from capping these properties for a little bit, but what I should be doing is just staying back, letting them come to me, letting me have making sure that I have a nice little blob of tanks right here that I can move in with to deal with his tanks when he moves in against mine. But no, I just decided to push in pretty aggressively, and like this is the dividing line right here. So I'd say pretty much like you are kind of overextending if you're pushing into here. Like you can push here. It's good to push. It's just risky. And if you don't have enough firepower backing you up here, you're going to end up taking a lot of damage like I did here. Like your opponent's just going to be able to swarm you. Because if you're on an even footing here and you have a defensive line of tanks, your opponent's just going to get the first strike and take you out. So you've got to sort of fall back to this line, let your opponent go for this dividing line in the center, and then push against them. Unfortunately, Sonya's bad luck makes that kind of difficult to do, but well, either way. That's it for today's very short episode. If you enjoyed, please go ahead and like and subscribe and all that other nonsense. Hope you at least learned something from this clusterfuck. Because like I did at the beginning, I sort of did blame it on the superpower, but I think what I ended up doing wrong here was just I ended up rushing. I was too aggressive with Sonya. Because like what Sonya wants is to just sit back, let her opponent come to her, deal with, take like you can sort of take a little bit of a first strike, but you've got to be able to just. Sonya's just not good. It's just not good. But if you're able to just swarm her, take out your opponent's pushes, and then come back with more tanks, just more, keep your opponent guessing on what your HP is, that's sort of what you want to do. But yeah, as I said, I guess if you enjoyed, go ahead and like and subscribe and all that other nonsense, and I will see you guys in the next one. Which I believe is going to be a Drake versus Rachel match. Some more tier 3 fog, but no Sonya that time because the map's not good for it. Yeah, so I will see all of you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching this one.